Good afternoon. This is Lindsay. Uh, it is July 8th, 2024, and I am going to do a video today. I'm going to do a video I don't want to really show my face just because I just want to talk about some more about hoovering and dealing with narcissists in your life. And I'm going to talk about what happened with me just for my own documentation recently. Okay, so several times when I have been involved with this narcissistic man who I was with for the past over a year. Of course, I thought, at first I was like thinking that it was going to maybe develop into a real relationship where eventually we would maybe start going out a little bit or going at least to the park to walk, or maybe once in a while go out to dinner or go have a drink or do something, maybe do anything together, right? Instead of outside of the house. But the only things that ever transpired out of that transaction type situation for the past year, where this man would go to my home several times a week, maybe 2 times a week, sometimes maybe once a week, maybe 2 times a week. Never, at the most 3 times. There was a couple times where he'd be here 3 times a week, but that was very rare. So it was usually a couple times a week, and this went on and on for over a year. And I was like, okay, yeah, I kept thinking that, yeah, it's going to eventually change. I'm going to get to know him better. He's going to get to know me better, and we'll just see what happens. And I kept giving it one chance after the next, yet knowing in my mind that there was something off, that this person was not very honest, that he was not respectful of my boundaries, that he was very manipulative, extremely needy, and self-absorbed, and always it was about him when it came to anything physical. Of course, that's all he wanted anyway. It was all about my pleasing him. And I never really would I'd say anything to him about that until it started to get to the point where I would just start getting angry when he would text me all the time saying, I need you, I need your company, I need your touch. Why are you ignoring me? You're abandoning me. He would start saying all that if I would go a day without texting him back. He would just bombard me with all these text messages and sometimes phone calls when he'd be at work. And I would just usually ignore. Sometimes I'd answer the phone, and then it's like, why would he want to call me when he's at his work? Supposedly where he works at a department store with mostly women, or gay men, or mostly women. Why would he want to call me and have a conversation? I'd ask him things like, why are you doing that? You're supposed to be at work. That's not professional to be calling somebody at work and having these kinds of conversations, because he would start saying, he would get very vulgar. And I'm like, don't you know, you're aware that there's like surveillance there, and they're listening to you and they're monitoring you. You're not supposed to be doing that on your work hour when you're at work. I said, you should know better. You're a 54-year-old man who's supposedly a professional in your sales job, so you should know better. That's very unprofessional. And I would tell him directly. It's like, I can't believe. I was like, are you really who you say you are? And so I started getting paranoid, thinking this man is full of shit. He's a liar. That's probably not even really what he does. I started to really doubt that that's really what this person does. But I guess obviously the environment there is so relaxed that people just don't give a shit. I guess the employees do things like that and nobody cares. I guess they don't care if a client walks in and you're having a phone conversation like that about sex and about wanting or not, about things that are just inappropriate, okay? Inappropriate, that you wouldn't discuss in a work setting. At least I wouldn't, because I'm well aware of surveillance, and I just don't do that. I know how to conduct myself. Things like that are supposed to be talked about behind closed doors or on a YouTube video or whatever, but not in a public place, not not in a department store or whatever, not at your workplace. So anyway, he would do that a lot, and it's like he would do that on purpose just so that other people could hear the conversation, almost like he was trying to trap me in speech or embarrass me to get me to say something so that he could use it against me. Because he used to say things like, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember this. He would threaten me saying that. And I'm like, what do you mean you're going to remember this? It got to the point where most of the relationship, he was just being a real bully and extremely controlling and manipulative, and just like got to the point where I was like, what are you, a fucking, are you some kind of a patrol officer or a fucking security guard or what do you call these people? What are they called? Parole officer, probation officer. I mean, honestly, that's the way he would behave, and that's the way he would treat me. Like he was some kind of a cop or probation officer. I'm like, dude, I'm not your fucking slave. I'm a human being. And he had no respect for, like, he'd come into my house and immediately start it's like as soon as I sit down, he starts touching me, and I'm like, get your hands away. Can we have a conversation without you putting your hands all over me? Can you just calm down? And then he'd get really defensive and say, I can't help it. I'm attracted to you. I can't keep my hands off you. I'm like, well, yes, you can. You need to discipline yourself, because this is your problem, is that you're a sex addict, or you don't know how to discipline yourself. And I said, if you behave like this around me behind closed doors, thank God, but how do you behave around, I'm asking myself and I'm asking him, how do you behave around women when you're at the workplace? Do you sexually harass women? Are you a predator? I mean, what's wrong with you? I was like, you've got an addiction problem about needing to be pleased. He was very demanding and controlling and manipulative, and he used a lot of coercive abuse, and would belittle me and mock me and try to mirror me, like sitting here making fun of what I would say, me trying to mirror me, and then but not really listening at the same time to what I would say. Like everything that I would talk about, it's like he just didn't care. Anything about myself, he didn't have any interest in, unless it had something to do with maybe financial, something about my court, probate stuff. Other than that, he just couldn't have fucking given a shit about me, about my feelings. One time I told him I was sick, I didn't feel. I was like, well, I don't care. Why are you telling me this? It was like a big inconvenience if you're not feeling well. You know how narcissistic people are. Oh God, you have to be like a performer. You're expected to be perfect for these people because they think they're perfect, and they see you as an extension to themselves, and they literally just see you as an object. You're not a person. You're not a person with feelings. You're not a person who's supposed to have emotions. You're just supposed to be there to perform a duty for them or whatever, and that's it. That's all they see you as, is somebody who they need you to fulfill a certain role for them, of which usually is either sexual. It's usually with men. When they do this to women, it's usually obviously something sexual, correct? And I was like, damn, this man makes me feel so low about myself. He treats me like I'm a fucking prostitute. Like literally, I was feeling like I was a whore. The whole time I was with him, he never made me feel good about myself. I never felt uplifted. He never complimented me, unless it was very like backhanded compliments that were fake, not real, genuine. But he would criticize me about my hair. He would make fun of me about the clothes I wear, that I don't have any style because I don't wear designer brand clothes. I'm very just kind of ordinary and casual because I don't dress up in high heels and a mini skirt or dress at home. So he'd compare me to other women who he works with, and other women like celebrities, and would always make me feel bad about myself because I don't have that kind of lifestyle or money that they do. Yet it's like he would say these things and use me, yet at the same time he would criticize me, but at the same time he would. It's very hard to explain how these people are. It doesn't make any sense, because it's like, why the fuck would you want to be around me if you hate me that much? If I'm so opposite to what you want, and who if you don't like anything about who I am as an individual, then what are you doing here? Why are you here? Why are you wasting my time? And I'd ask myself, why am I wasting my time with somebody who literally treats me like a fucking doormat? Like, literally, is he being paid by somebody to do this? It's like, what's going on? I was always questioning, what the fuck is this all about? Because it did not seem, it's like I was just being punished. It's like he'd come over here and just punish me. He would bribe me with food, or taunt me with like food, and he'd bring pizza. And then he'd get mad if I'd eat any of it or make fun of me, and then he'd start telling me that I'm, making, he had issues himself, insecurities, but then he started to like project all this stuff onto me, like he horribly abusive, horribly psychologically abusive, and he knew exactly what he was doing. This is a tactic that narcissistic men use towards women to try to control them, to try to control their body, to try to control what you eat, when you eat, what you do, who you talk to, everything. They want complete control over you. You're not allowed to have an individual personality. You're not allowed to have any autonomy. It's all about how are you going to please them and when are you going to do it, and that's it. The whole relationship, or I don't even want to call it that because it's really not that, the whole situation ship basically revolves around you dancing around in circles or on eggshells, trying to appease them, what are they going to do? How are they going to behave today? And it makes you so fucking crazy. Literally, you go crazy. You'll notice it over time when you're around these people. You lose your personality. You start losing your identity. You lose interest in things that you used to like to do. You don't even recognize. You're like, what? Why am I not the same person that I was before I met you? It's like you take you don't even know who the fuck you are anymore. They do such a psychological number on you that you feel so low about yourself because of all the humiliation that you're like, you start to lose respect for yourself. You still do the same thing. You still have a routine, but they're trying to convince you that you shouldn't do that anymore, that you should just completely revolve your life around them, right? You're not supposed to do anything for yourself. It's about, now that I'm here, it's about me, and it's all about me. And usually, you see how they are, and they don't change. You'll think that, okay, we'll just give it some time. This person is just not, he's gone through some rough times, he's angry, he's taken out the anger from his last relationship out on me. I'm his punching bag, and so I'm absorbing all his negativity. And you'll find that, you tell them a lot of things about yourself and about your past and your relationships and whatnot, and they tell you some things, but really, they don't give a shit. If you tell them anything about you and what you like and your interests or anything, they don't care. They don't care, and if anything at all, they're going to make fun of you and mock you about it, like what this person did with me. My music taste, the fact that I like the paranormal, anything that I like, there was a problem. He would question it. Like, why do you like that? What's wrong with you? Why do you like this? Why do you like that? Why? Every little thing about me was a problem for him. He did not like one thing about me. Not one thing did he truly respect about me. Yet he would come around and say, oh, I really need you. I need your touch. I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you, Lindsay. Oh, baby. Come on. Help me. I need your touch. You know how to satisfy me. You do a great job. You do a great job. And then he'd say things like, I would give you a 5-star. He was treating me like a fucking porno. Like I was supposed to be a porno actress, or like I was getting a review on some kind of a website for every time he would come over here. That's how this jackass was so horribly abusive, very abusive. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, I said to him once, I was like, and I would be really direct with him. I was not afraid to confront him and say exactly what was on my mind. I'd say, why are you such an asshole? Why are you so controlling? And what's wrong with you? I would ask him, and I'd say, who do you think you are telling me how to live my life? You can't just come into my life, and I'm 49 years old, and all of a sudden think that you can do a number on me and change my personality because you don't like who I am. Well, then get the fuck out of here, I'd say. Then what are you fucking doing here? And he'd say, oh, but I really like you. Well, then get, what the fuck is your problem then, Treat me like you do. To quit treating me like a fucking object. And then he he still has this attachment with his ex-wife because, they always, what you'll find with these men is that once they've been hurt or burned really badly in the past by their ex, somebody who they were with for a long time and they were married to, and they probably finally figured out that they were dealing with a fucking covert narcissist, and they divorce them. See, that carries, then of course they're going to carry that anger throughout until they do the work on themselves and realize that maybe that they do have some problems, like i.e. drinking too much, or that you're real controlling and manipulative and a flirt and a womanizer and a cheater. Maybe that's why the woman broke. Maybe that's why she divorced you, is because you fucking cheated on her, Hello. And you probably, God only knows what else happened in that relationship, but I can only imagine. I know that things go both ways, but I'm sure that he cheats. He's a liar and he cheats. Because he did the same thing to me, even though I was never anything more than just a friend to him, even though I was doing things with him that were far out of a category of what a friend would do. It's like, what the... it was insulting and humiliating. I never trusted him. I never felt comfortable around him. I just felt like I was being mocked and used and exploited. And he knew it, and he was just pushing all my buttons to try to find my insecurities, whether it be about my hair, my body, my height, because he was tall, and they love to find people who are short to fuck with you, especially some of these taller men. They really like to find victims that are shorter because they can bully you around like you're a nobody. Like they really love the superiority thing, and then they make fun of you and tease you that you're short, and they don't want to bring you out in public because, oh God forbid, look at you and look at me. And yeah, it's obvious that anybody with half a mind or half a brain would be able to see that, yeah, that's all sexual. Usually when these relationships, if you're with a man who's like a foot taller than you, and he doesn't take you out in public, well, guess why? It's because it's all about sex, or something intimate, or something that you're doing. That you know what I mean? It's not because it's not because he cherishes you as a person. He doesn't value you. He doesn't respect you. He's just using you for physical needs, and that's it. That's all it is. And you'll see that a lot of these relationships that I notice in public, I watch people sometimes. I'm not, I'm a people watcher. I observe people, and I see them at the gym, like couples together. I see people out in public, and I pay attention to how the man is treating the woman. And usually, when the man is walking way ahead of her, they don't make eye contact. They look like they're miserable, but she's just kind of following him around like a dog, okay? And I see this a lot. Like, it's like they look miserable. Couples out in public. Sometimes you see different people out in public, but it's an act. Like, they're putting on an act that it's almost too fake. And all these public displays of affection, which I don't like that. I'm not into that. I never have been into that kind of thing. But if a man is walking way ahead of you and doesn't ever want to hold your hand maybe for a minute, or is embarrassed to be out with you in public, then you have to ask yourself, what am I doing? Why am I with this person who's actually just really trying to drag me down and make me feel insecure and make me feel like I have no value? When you know that you have value, you know that you respect yourself, yet all they want to do is make you feel bad about yourself because you don't have the right handbag, or you don't have the right shoes brand, or you don't have designer clothes on, so you're not good enough to be out in public with this Mr. I'm perfect macho man, machista, or your hair's not in place, or whatever it is that they're going to find to use and humiliate you and degrade you because, oh, look, I have more money than you. I work at a really fancy I have a really fancy job around a bunch of wealthy people all day and women, and I look at, and you're just a fucking ugly bitch. And he called me a bitch. He called me crazy. He called me useless. He said that there's no help for me, that I'm useless, that I'll never find anybody else who's going to tolerate me. He told me that I'm just basically a lost cause. He was horrible. He started getting really mean to me when I started calling him out for his shit. He started he had to get revenge, and that's what they do, is they have to get even with you. When you call them out for their shit and tell them, knowing that, when you say, look, I know you cheated, why did you lie to me? Why, if you've been with other women, then why don't you just tell me? Because clearly it was obvious that he had been with other women. Okay, I know for a fact that he had, but he blatantly lied to my face about it, which is very, very disrespectful. And don't expect them to be honest. If they did do something like that, they're never going to confess to that, because, oh, no, Mr. Player is never going to confess to that, because he can't lose you as his primary source of supply, because you provide for him what he needs. The other women, maybe they do, but maybe they're not quite the same, and he feels that he can rely on you, because he tries to develop a codependency with you, and he tries to trauma bond you. He tries to get you to adhere to his schedule and to his needs at his demands. You're supposed to be a homebody who is basically just there to serve him, but you're not even his wife, or let alone his girlfriend. You're just an object on the shelf that he can knock over and replace anytime he wants. That's what they make you feel. And whenever you start feeling this way in these kinds of relationships, then those are all red flags that there's something wrong, that this person is not a good match for you. They don't respect you. They never did. As a matter of fact, they had an agenda the whole time. You just have to pay. Whenever you pay close attention to what they're whenever you initially meet somebody, you have to interview them. You have to see it as an interview. You need to ask them questions. You need to make sure that they're looking at you in the eye and making eye contact with you. And then you can read their body language, because whenever they are not able to make proper eye contact with you, whenever they cannot focus on the conversation and their eyes are darting all over the place and they're nervous and fidgety, then usually that indicates that they're not honest, that they're hiding something. Because communication is very key to any kind of prosperous, solid relationship, especially if it's an intimate, a monogamous relationship, or with whatever kind of boyfriend, girlfriend, if you're monogamous, or then if you don't have good communication skills, and you don't address the issues right directly whenever they happen, instead of waiting months on down the line, you need to actually talk about it as it happens, or right after it's happening, so that person knows, and that they're aware of what's going on, because they are aware of it. But if you don't address it, and you continue to let them do that, they're going to continue to abuse you psychologically and just use you, because they see you as being weak. They see you as being vulnerable. They see you as an easy target for them to just take advantage of, whether it be whatever way that they're taking advantage of you. They see you as nothing but a weak branch of the tree that's falling down, that needs their support, and they think that they are the only thing that can support you. They feel like, oh, well, look at me, I'm so grandiose. I'm this tall whatever man who's going to be a knight in shining armor, but I'm going to end up treating this woman like shit. I'm going to put her on a pedestal for the first couple months, buy her little gifts here and there, come dress up in a fucking business suit and charm her and do some love bombing, and then start doing my devaluation, because I'm going to see that she's flawed. I'm going to not like certain things about her, and I'm going to realize that she's just not perfect like anyone know. She's not good enough, and I'm going to start doing my humiliation and devaluation, and doing the little subtle discards, and then I'm going to come back and do a little bit more love bombing, and then I'm going to disappear and ghost for a few days, and then I'm going to come back, and you see what they do? It's never consistent. It might be that they call you or text you on a daily basis, but they're only doing that because that's the way that they feel that they can hook you in to the fake situation. Because as long as you let it continue, and as long as you're never, like, if after a year, and you've been with a man for after a year, and they've never once kissed you, you've never kissed them, they've never held your hand or anything, not even, they've never done anything to reciprocate anything that you've done for them, then clearly, that right there, that should tell you something, that there's something off, that maybe they are, maybe they're bisexual, maybe they're a closet homosexual, Maybe they are scared, or maybe they are with other women, or maybe they're married. You start asking yourself all these questions, and you're like, what is wrong with me? But they're sitting there telling you, oh, I can't keep my hand. No, it's not you. If they behave like that and treat you like that, you should realize, because I know that this is a form of punishment that they do to women, that they're just trying to disrespect you. That is a lot of disrespect right there, okay? That right there, what they're doing, if they're doing that to you, like not even showing you any sort of affection at all, none whatsoever, and you've been with them for over a year and it's still the same thing, that right there, then you're wasting your time. They're never going to change. They've got a problem. It's not you. Don't blame yourself, because there's nothing wrong with you. If you've had normal, healthy, intimate relationships with other men, such as myself, and this person all of a sudden treats you like that and shows no affection and is like, then it's not you, it's them. There's just it's just a lack of it could be also that, they like what you do for them. You provide something for them that they like, but they show they don't reciprocate in any kind of way, because they're so self-absorbed and it's all about them. Well, what kind of woman's going to want to put up with that unless literally she's a paid whore? Like maybe a woman who's getting paid, like is a prostitute or something, like literally getting paid money to do a service, would accept that. But a normal person is not going to accept that. Would walk away from that within a few months. Because that's not normal. That's not normal. It shows that they have something going on that they're ashamed of. They have shame. They have anger from their past. They feel rejected by the ex, whoever their last ex relationship was with. Something happened where they got hurt really badly or it didn't end well. And so they're taking it out on you. It's like, well, that person treated me so badly and they hurt me so bad. Well, now I'm going to find this vulnerable victim who's going through who just had somebody die in their family, but they might, and they're going to take advantage of that and fucking step all over you. Wow, what an easy target. You see, they hunt people down. These narcissistic individuals, they find people who are vulnerable or in a vulnerable state in their life, and they're going to really, really try to do a number on you. And you really should pay attention. Pay attention closely to the first initiation with that person, because they're going to tell you who they are. Within that first meeting of getting to know them, whatever that first date or whatever, or whenever they're first in your house, they'll tell you. They're going to give you all the clues, everything you need to know right then and there about who they are and what their agenda is with you. You're gonna want to act like you didn't hear it, or that you didn't. You're gonna try to play like, oh no, is that really? No, you're gonna kind of try to play it off because you're in shock, okay? Because it's so bizarre. But literally, you don't need more than an hour around these individuals to figure them out. At least in my experience, I can be around one of these people within an hour and already know do my little interview thing and know what I'm dealing with, and maybe either put it to a stop right then and there or take it out and put it to the test. That's up to you. If you want to put it to the test, then it's going to go on and on and on like that. Things are not going to change. They're going to get to know things about you, but they're going to be very, very defensive when you ask them questions. They're not going to really be very direct and honest with you about their past. They're going to lie to you. They're going to keep secrets. They're never going to invite you over to where they live. They don't want to take you out in public. They still have pictures of their ex-wife on Facebook. They'll do shit like friend you on Facebook and then defriend you a couple weeks later or a week later. And because they've got so many other women who they're talking with, and of course their status is always going to be single. You're always just going to be, you know what I mean? These are all indications that man is a player, that he never is going to take you seriously, and that he doesn't respect you. That all he sees you as an easy target for him to get his sexual needs met. That's it. That's all you are. That's all you're going to ever be. It's not going to change. And they're going to continue, as long as you let it happen, it's going to happen until you guess what? You're the one in control to put a stop to it. They'll continue to take advantage of you until you say no. And that's what happened to me. Is I said no more. I've had enough. This is not getting anywhere. You're taking up my time. You're manipulating me. You've led me on. I would say things like that, knowing that, why am I even wasting my time saying this? Because I already know who this man was when I first met him, what he's all about. So it's almost like you're wasting your time, because it's energy that you're spending on a person where you could be putting that energy somewhere else. And they know that, and that's the idea. They're like, they call them energy vampires, or, whatever. They suck your energy. They take away your energy. That they don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to be anything unless it's to serve them. You'll see that after, then the devaluation stage is really horrible. Then they really start to cut you down and mock you and exploit you and smear campaign you and compare you to women who have money and success or beauty, and then they'll call you ugly, and that you just don't measure up, right? You're not measuring up to what they expect. And at this point, you probably don't give a shit, because you're like, I don't, whatever. And I am who I am. If you don't like it, too bad, because I am not going to change. And you shouldn't feel that you should have to change anything about yourself for somebody, because that's not being true to who you are. If they don't like you for who you are, then why go out of your way for somebody who's never going to be satisfied anyway? Because all they're going to do is compare you to the next and the next and the last. You're never going to be good enough. And that's the thing. It's like you have to realize, which is hard to understand for a lot of people, is when you're involved with one of these individuals, you're not going to ever be good enough for them. It's never going to be good enough. And they're always going to cheat on you. They're always going to lie to you, because this is what they do. They do this with everybody. It's not just you. They do this. This is a pattern that they have. They don't respect people. They do not respect people, boundaries. They don't have any emotional. If you cry or do anything like that in front of these people, they see you as weak. They see you as pathetic. They see you as stupid. They can't handle anybody with real emotions, because that makes them on the edge, nervous and anxious, and then they project anger onto you. You see, it's really messed up with these people, because you can try and try and try so hard to please them or what, and it's like you're just fucking wasting your fucking time. You realize, what, I've had, this is it. This is the last fucking, they'll come back to hoover you. You keep over and over again, and they'll keep coming back because you haven't blocked them. They'll show up at your house. They'll fucking bombard your phone with messages and crying, like all these little fucking emojis with a crying face or a cat, a kitten and shit like that. All these stupid little emojis to try to get you to your, all this shit that they do, which is all part of their trauma, trying to get you trauma bonded. It's all an act. It's all fake. It's all fake, because if somebody really respects you, if really they respect you, they're not going to lie to you. They're not going to cheat on you. They'd probably at some point, take you. Yeah, you see, it's a dead end. And I have to talk about something that happened with this person, because it's so fucking humiliating. Is that oh my God. I had to go, a couple of times, and this is all just for my own documents. I'm not going to, if I put this on YouTube, I doubt it. If I do, it'll be private. I just have to record what fucking happened. A couple weeks ago, because it's very hot in my home, and of course this person kept coming to my house, and it's very hot, and it costs a lot of money to run the air conditioning, so I try to be very conservative with that. He's like, well, we'll go to a motel, and he says my motel. He calls it his motel, right? So we've been there several times. It's a motel here in San Antonio downtown. And it's right across the street from the restaurant where I first met him. And so this guy is so fucking arrogant. He acts like it's his motel, everything, whatever. So we go there a couple weeks ago, right? And then all of a sudden, somebody slips something in the door, and it's a pizza menu. A pizza menu, right? And I've talked before about Pizzagate and stuff like this, Pizzagate and crap like that, and I've even told this man, I said, do you know what Pizzagate is? And this was way before this ever happened. He's like, no. He acts dumb, like he doesn't know anything, but that's a bullshit. He does, because he works with a lot of Jewish people. Yeah, he does. He's just playing dumb. But anyway, I had asked him before. And so all of a sudden, like a couple weeks ago, there's a fucking thing for look at this, a menu for pizza. Some little menu thing that they stuck in the door. Okay? And so that was like a couple weeks ago. Or a week and a half. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, right? At this motel. And weird stuff happens every time I go there with him. Weird street theater. There's this woman who walked by in a bathing suit, sunglasses, and it was clearly a lot of street theater because he knows that I'm a target individual, so he picks on me about that. There's a car out there. Like, all this street theater, every time I'm out with him, even just brief times in public, all this fucking weird stuff, street theater, mostly involving women. Like, women walking by him, trying to get his attention. It's like, are you a fucking pimp? I'm convinced now that he's a pimp or something like that, a drug dealer on the side, or some kind of a pimp involved with something like that. He must be, because the amount of weird shit that happens when I've been around him is just completely indicative of his either being a pimp, involved with prostitutes, or drug dealing. And that's what I gather about this man. He's lying to me about something. It's obvious because I could see all the signs. And every time he comes here, all the shit that happens, like the neighbors doing their street theater with these women that are dressed like prostitutes walking by his car, and he's sitting there gawking at them. It's like, okay, it's like, oh my God, what am I dealing with here? Who is this man? So maybe in his past he's done that. I don't know. But a lot of these men, you'll find out that these narcissistic men, they have a thing they like to hook up with prostitutes because, of course, they can't really commit to anybody, especially if they've been through a bad divorce or whatever. They're never going to, or they've been through some bad relationships. They're non-committal. They like to have their freedom and they like to have their single status. So usually what they do is they hook up with women at clubs, nightclubs, or bars. They'll have like one night stands or maybe even orgies, or they're into polygamy or polyamorous type relationships. You'll find that, or maybe they're bisexual. That they're very open when it comes to these things, and they're very much, but they're gonna try to keep that a secret from you. But to everybody else, you don't even know. They have a complete different side around other people when they're out at a bar or whatever. Because usually they have an alcohol problem. Maybe they were a drug addict in the past as well. But they're going to lie to you about that as well, They're going to lie to you about everything. They're wearing a mask, basically, when they're with you. They're someone else, and when they're with other people, it's someone different. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde who you're dealing with. And so it gets exhausting because you're like, oh my God, I couldn't be any more fucking honest with this person and look at what they're, it's like you're an open book, you're honest. And they don't give a shit anyway about you, but it's like, my God, talk about being, feeling insulted and humiliated, when you're that open with somebody who treats you like a fucking doormat in a joke, like you're just a joke to them. Yeah, so that's how they are, and it's really mean what they do. They're very rude. They have ill manners. They're not nice people at all, and don't think that for a minute that just because they give you a little fucking cookie or a Whataburger soda that they give a shit about you, because they don't care about you. They don't. It's just shit ways to harass you or exploit you, and then they'll start picking on you and everything about you. So that happened. That's this pizza menu a couple weeks ago at that same motel, La Quinta Inn in downtown. And then, lo and behold, I was at the same motel with him yesterday afternoon, evening. And we got into some argument. It was not good. I got into an argument with him. I mean, I wasn't fighting, screaming, but I let him know that I was like, I really think, I basically, I realized that this is it. This man is such a, wow. I was like, I can't believe how mean he was being this time. Like, how fucking mean he was being and how ill-mannered and just narcissistic. I was like, okay, that's it. I felt sick to my stomach. I said, I think I want to go home. I'm going to call a cab or please take me home. I said, I just want to get out of here. You know, he was being so rude. And right around that time, somebody stuck a menu in the door, another pizza menu in the door. This time from Big John's Pizza on what street? Somewhere far away. Hillcrest Drive, San Antonio. Okay? So they stuck this thing in the door, a pizza menu. This is the second time that that's happened. I guess, obviously, that's what happens at hotels. I'm not saying that, obviously it's, sure, that kind of, but the fact that I had been talking about Pizzagate a lot lately and this shit, it's just sort of a coincidence, or is it not? I don't know. Two times this whole thing with pizza menus. And of course, at first when he used to come over here, he would bring pizza a lot. He'd bring pizzas and so clearly he knows about Pizzagate. Clearly he knows about this shit. He just doesn't want to tell me what he's involved with. And then he kept talking the other day about red bottom shoes and these a brand of exotic Christian something shoes that he sells, and how they've got a red leather sole to them and all this shit. So I don't know what he's into or what this person, who he's affiliated with, but I have a feeling I already know enough to know that I need to just trust my intuition now and not let this person anywhere near me again, because he's something is demonic, something is wrong, very wrong, and I already knew that from the get-go. I got bad feelings and something about it, and I'm like, I just can't, this is just too much. And so I just thought I'd make a video about that right now, because it's like he's hoovering only to get revenge. These past few times that I've seen him, it's like he's just punishing me and insulting me and picking on picking on me in every kind of way possible just to get revenge. And me, the dumb ass, letting him back in my house over and over again, even though, I had told him it's over at least several months ago, but he keeps coming back to just cause damage. When they hoover you, when these relationships end, they're only coming back to hoover you because they think you're weak, and they're coming back just to cause more damage. That's all they want to do, is cause you more damage and confusion and hurt and frustration or humiliation. That's all it is. That's what they're doing. So you should not, if you're in a relationship with a narcissistic man and you know that it's over and the discard already happened, the final discard or whatever, and they're coming back to hoover you, and I would suggest you not let them back in. I would suggest that you ignore the hoovering, because that's really not a good thing. It's not good to take them back after, and keep taking them back when they cheated, they lied. Why keep taking them back? Because it's not going to change. As a matter of fact, it just gets worse. It just gets worse until you find that you're a shell of who you used to be. You feel sick. You feel your energy depleted. You feel disgusted with yourself. You feel depressed. And then you have to recuperate. Then it's like you're on the path once again to recovery. And that's a whole nother process that you have to heal from this stuff. And if you don't they're not going to let you heal from it. They're going to keep on bothering you. But you have to let your body and mind and spirit heal from these individuals, because it's very toxic. And that's the only way to recovery, is telling them no, blocking them, and telling them no, and ignoring them. If you don't, that's all you can do, or else it's going to, so that you can heal, because that's it. That's really all.